Saturday is Alumni Day, and with it, the Panthers will welcome back the 2002-2003 men's basketball team that became the first in school history to make the NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament. Bill Johnson and I were fortunate enough to be around back then as well, and Bill, it does bring back a lot of great memories. I mean, obviously, to get to the NCAA tournament takes many great things and great players along the way, and there were no shortage of great times that season.
Oh, absolutely not, Kevin. I mean, that's when the Pearl era really started to develop with that group. I think the thing that set the tone for that team was how they went out in the tournament that previous year in the conference tournament when they lost to UIC in Cleveland. I mean, that tournament ended up restructuring the whole Horizon League tournament and how we did things. But I think that really was a bitter taste in their mouth when they got beaten by UIC at Cleveland. Especially with Kyle Kickard, who had been in this program before, really being kind of the dominant force for UIC in that game. I think that was kind of a rallying cry for that group for the whole season.
And when we talk about where it came from, that early season that year, well, they eventually got off to a great start, an early trip to New Orleans and a loss to Southeast Missouri State on Thanksgiving Day that sticks in both of our minds as a point at which the Panthers never probably played that poorly the rest of the season.
No, they didn't, and it was really ended up being a good thing. You couldn't have told us any of that on Thanksgiving Day in New Orleans when we were all sitting there depressed, kind of scratching our heads going, man, I thought this team was going to be pretty good. Well, they ended up ripping off 8 wins in a row. It's interesting, we were talking with Kevin Conway about his beard. That was my my little superstition at the time. I let my beard go until they lost again. It was pretty full by the time they lost at Georgia. But yeah, they ripped off all those wins in a row. They played very well. And I think what was important was the seniors really took over that team. Everybody knew Clay Tucker was a good player. Until that point, though, he had actually had even a little bit of senioritis. But when he started to get on a roll and really started to dominate, and that team started to really dominate games with that pressure defense, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, you fast forward toward the end of the year, and to me, 2 games that they came up short in at the end that actually showed as much about how great of a team it was as anything else was that wonderful game at Southern Illinois that I think will be remembered for a long time. Again, came up short, but what a spectacular national television debut for the Panthers, and the quasi-regular season championship game at Butler. Such a shame it slipped from the grasp of the Panthers in the final second, but nonetheless, those are the kind of games you don't even get in position to win and handle yourself so well if you aren't ready to make a major mark.
It's just interesting that in a season like that where the team makes its first NCAA appearance, for you and for me, 2 of the first games that come up are 2 games that they ended up losing on buzzer beaters, 2 heartbreakers. But I think Southern Illinois and the first year of the bracket buster really kind of brought Bruce Pearl and this style of play into the forefront. He was one of the first coaches that I could ever remember allowing the network to come in the pregame, the halftime, and the postgame into his locker room to see how things were going. That place was unbelievable. It was like U.S. Cellular Arena, except it had old wooden seats. So, I mean, this place just rattled when that crowd went crazy. And when the kid got the tip in at the end, the place went nuts, and you could just look at the long faces for the Panther players. And then that Butler game, there had been so many classic games at Hinkle Fieldhouse. And was it the year before or 2 years? It was the year before that the Panthers had won a game on a buzzer beater there. And the thing that got me was I always had a healthy respect for Mike Monserrat. He was the kind of player that you didn't like when he was on the other team, but you knew he was a smart player. And he was the guy that made that pass to Avery Sheets for the 3-pointer that gave the Bulldogs the win.
Then you fast forward just 1 week later, the tournament at home, and again, many will jump to that championship game, which we will in a moment. But as good of a semifinal battle as I think this league tournament has seen in its incarnation in this format, there was no love lost between Milwaukee and UIC back in those days. I recall a few moments in that game. Teams had to be separated. It went down to the wire. UIC wasn't happy necessarily with how it ended. That was a game that I thought the mettle that had been tested earlier for Milwaukee came through in pulling out a game that was in doubt much of the way.
Yeah, it was, and I think especially considering the way that the regular season games had gone versus UIC and the way that that tournament game had gone in Cleveland the previous year, everybody kind of had this, oh no, not again feeling about it, but they did pull it out in the end, and then the championship game was special.
Yeah, that championship game, I think the memory for me, and we were reminiscing a bit before, yes, you have the court storm kind of when it's all over, but I remember sitting next to David Nikolic, our former women's soccer assistant coach, who was actually helping us courtside doing some work, and I was sitting next to him, and when the Panthers kept going ahead further and further and further, and we both kind of looked at each other like, is this really happening? Not just, oh, they're winning. They're dominating this game on national TV, and this game might be over in the first 5-10 minutes. Right. What better way to go to the NCAA tournament than not have it go down to the wire, but really be able to celebrate for almost 40 full minutes?
Well, and I think it's what the fans and the team really needed after that UIC game was such a tight one. You go out and you slay Goliath. Not only did you slay Goliath, but you slay him by 2 touchdowns. It was just a really joyous night at U.S. Cellular Arena, and started a bunch of really good years of games at U.S. Cellular Arena.
Yeah, and then finally on the game front, we jumped to the NCAA tournament, and in some ways a missed opportunity, of course, but you couldn't have picked a better opponent as far as name recognition, playing in a building that doesn't even exist anymore. It was a spectacular game. The Panthers had a case of nerves early, but right there till the end, yes, that final layup bounces away. But still in all, with distance now, I look back very fondly at that game and how well the Panthers acquitted themselves in their first ever run at the tournament, and saw just how close even that year Milwaukee was to the Sweet 16 or beyond.
Well, and it was a window of things to come. The pressure defense, you knew against the opponents that they had played throughout the season that no game was over because of Milwaukee's pressure defense. The pressure defense and the three-point shooting end up getting them back into that game as well, and I think it showed you a couple of things. Everybody remembers Dylan Page for the shot at the end, but he played so well in that game, and you know there's going to be stories over and over again as to what exactly happened with that. I think the bigger story there was you saw that Clay Tucker had come full circle as a player, and he was ready to go forward into the wonderful career he's had in Europe, because beyond the shot, and I think you and I have talked about it, Clay made the pass. And I think at that point everybody thought and had plenty of reason to think that if Clay's got the ball and the clock is winding down, by hook or by crook, whether he's got 3 guys on him or not, he's taking that shot. And he made the pass into Dylan, and I think that was kind of a precursor into the wonderful career that he's gone on to have.
Bill, we could go on and on forever about this season. We'll pause there. We've mentioned some of the great players, some of the great games. Fun to reminisce about, and I'm sure Saturday's going to be a lot of fun as well.
Oh, it's always fun to get that group of guys back together. Let's hope they got plenty of Absorbine Jr. and plenty of cameras for all the pictures and the storytelling that's going to go on.
Indeed, that's Saturday, the alumni game at 4, and then Panthers and Wright State at 7, where we'll honor the 2002-2003 Panther NCAA Tournament men's basketball team.